welcome back to another Linux Gamecast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. This week, Steam has announced the winners of their little contest, but I think we have some additional categories, and Postal has gone open source. But will it build?
Want to play Doom on open source Radeon Vulkan drivers? Well, you should start by questioning how you got into this situation in the first place. And can Arc out-stimulate the GOAT? Stay tuned and find out.
Leadwerks is alive! Barely. The version 4.2 is now available should you want it. And Silent Hill 3 gets an open source re-implementation. Why 3, though? I mean, the obvious one is right next to it. It would have been 2.
I don't know, maybe some people just can't count to 3. Valve! I'm Ben Stone here at LGC Actual, switching the bits, doing this Nightmare Fuel, all under the Linux, joined every week by our Canadian bureau chief, Master Sveng.
Yes, I'm the chief of many desks. The desk master, you might call me.
And in the European office...
Reporting live from 2017. Hello.
From Spaceport School, that's Mr. Mateus. And together with Shot Realm Dynamic, they chip in to help us form that last little bit, known as Cocaine Voltron. Gentlemen, before we get started on this very special, it's not special, really, because somebody's already in 2017, so peace among worlds, bitches. We like to see what's going on in each other's life organs. J-Baby, what's up?
Oh, not much. I missed a bunch of crap from the Boxing Day sales, so now I'm regretting not spending money. But then I realized my bank account has money in it, so I felt a little happier. Also, my thumb healed, which is nice, so I got that going for me.
Bonus soda.
Well, I am currently working on getting proper piss drunk because it's, New Year's. So if there was ever a socially acceptable excuse to get proper piss drunk, outside of doing a show on Saturday nights, where people on the internet watch you. I'm just going to shut up now.
Not a whole lot going on over here. I'm working on, we're not going to get hammered and a little bit of sports water. Definitely taking a few sips. Not a whole lot went on this week. I did get some payment soup, show title. That definitely showed up. I helped an elderly friend of mine and set up a mesh network. And she's like, she just gave me a bag of frozen soup. I've never seen soup in a bag like that. And it was pretty good. I did enjoy it. Had to hack it a bit to figure out how to cook it because I'm not a clever man. I was like, just soak in hot water, dumbass. And I was like, right.
You boil it? How do I cook this soup?
But one thing, we never have to soak in hot water.
Yes, the horse. I was going to make a point about your not being able to count to 3 reference being a little untimely, but it's the end of the year, so who the hell cares? It's the Seamless Update of the Week.
Coming right into this, December 22nd, January 2nd, but it's over the Steam Awards, and they have the winners. It's kind of interesting. Your votes have been counted. The community has spoken, and we've removed all the Half-Life 3s, since that's pretty much what every single category winner originally was. But hey, man, 6 of this year's winners do have Linux ports. We're starting with the villain in most need of a hug, and that's some Portal 2. Euro Truck Simulator got one. I thought this game was cool before. Oh, it's got the Hipster Award. Test of time. All right, I kind of get to give that to Skyrim. I stay the fuck away from Skyrim because I'd get sucked back into that. CSGO, just 5 more minutes. Don't really care about that game.
I think Rocket League should have clinched that one.
Yeah, whoa, dude.
That's what I voted for. Yeah.
That was GTA. GTA also picked up game within a game. The Walking Dead. I'm not crying. There's something in my eye. No, that should have been Curse of the Raven's Cry for us. Best use of a farm animal. We got Goat Stimulator.
Obviously.
Pretty good. Boom,
yes.
boom. Fuck you, Bethesda, for making the first Doom game not to run on Linux. Dark Souls 3, love-hate relationship. Still not on Linux. Sit back and relax and pretend you get a job.
More Euro Truck Sim.
Better with friends. Well, according to Left 4 Brad.
We're not better with friends.
Right.
At least
Are we friends?
We're work friends. It's definitely something to look towards too. Now, we do have a few suggestions. I have a few suggestions of categories Steam might need to include, starting with this bullshit actually managed to get greenlit.
Legends of Aetherius.
Okay. We got that. I see how we're going to play this game now. Most years in early access.
Starbound. No, Distance.
Distance. Ooh.
I would still say Overgrowth because I was there for a while too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right. Another category, still available for purchase, even though the game has been abandoned for years, and it's still very much broken.
Legends of
Raven's
Aetherius.
Cry.
Ooh,
Raven's Cry.
We got a tie for that. And finally, to wrap this list off, most refunded.
Batman.
Ooh.
No Man's Sky.
That's going to be kind of difficult.
Yeah.
But you did notice there was one category in there that was kind of interesting. It was the best use of a farm animal. And J-Baby, some people had some...
Yeah, there were a couple games that had some aspirations, one of whom was Ark, not actually the winner. That went to a Goat Stimulator because, of course, it did. But they have an Ovis Aries, a new type of goat. I'm just going to leave that one there for you. You can insert your own joke there. But yeah, they were going to include it as part of the latest update that will be coming out, version 254. It's a new sheep that you can herd or collect or slaughter or butcher or I assume have sex with, or that might actually just be rust. I have no idea
That's
anymore.
the implication there with the whole pixely junk thing.
I mean, again, we're stealing pages out of Rust's book. But yeah, they, regardless of whether they won or not, and of course they didn't, this will be coming. So that's really all there is with this update to Ark. It's still one of the only UE4 games that are available on the Linuxes. If you like Dinosaur Minecraft, I mean...
And one that actually kind of cocked up majorly earlier in 2016 because, well, I'm not in 2016 anymore. Yeah, they were the one game that decided it was a good idea to sell an expansion pack to a game which is still in early access. Yeah, that went well.
What about the MOBA spin-off of the game that they didn't finish that was also in early access?
Yep. And then they also decided it was a good idea to herd, quote unquote, their fan base into gaming a bullshit award system. Good job.
Well, I mean, they definitely had to do something with all that. They're going to release this Ovis, the goat. My first thought was, so did you think for one hot damn second you would actually beat Goat Stimulator? It's like, no, it's too obvious how hard you're going to lose that. And upon reading the quote that, this is going to debut in the next major Ark version, and Pedro, what do you think? As DLC, probably?
Oh, yeah. Considering the history of this game, you'll probably have to at least shell out another $2 now. They actually might introduce it for free, because I think they learned their lesson with the whole expansion pack thing.
Listen, once people have burnt out on the game that they already spent money on, you need some other way to fund your perpetual development that will never, ever end. Just like certain people who write a game engine.
Indeed. Speaking of perpetual development, Leadwerks Game Engine 4.2 has been released. Indeed, if you are one of those people that backed their Indiegogo, I think it was an Indiegogo campaign, that they had to bring the Leadwerks engine to Linux like I did, like Fenton did. Well, you may have been sorely disappointed with how the engine's been performing thus far, because there was one whole game available with it, and it wasn't very good. And yeah, no, it's available. They also integrated game analytics free. If you could just make a game with a free account of GameAnalytics.com, and it'll give you like how many people are actively playing your game, how many people are doing certain things if you set up the hooks accordingly. So that's,
well, I mean, you're never going to get that email from Leadwerks unless you get like maybe one person. It's like, oh, hey, someone's playing my game.
I don't know. I mean, I'll definitely give Clint this. I mean, he's still trying to definitely improve it. I downloaded the latest version. It launches, but we do need to keep in mind that Leadwerks was the engine I sent Mr. Foxy in chat realm right now, and I got like an IRL WTF mate.
Yeah, apparently compared to Godot, doesn't really do all that well, but maybe they will have fixed that or they will fix that at some point. And Ven said in the notes here that I'll give him this. At least he's still trying to improve it. At what point does that sentiment go from approval to, say, enablement?
Pedro,
Because-
I'm a high-functioning alcoholic. You're not really saying much to me.
And I mean, like at least he is fixing the Linux bugs, so that's all good. And I mean,
Yeah.
we take every opportunity we can to poop on Josh Clint because it's fun and he enjoys it to some degree. But I mean, we should probably pimp his little contest that's running until the 15th for making games in
yes.
Leadwerks. If you paid $100 for the non-basic version that actually allows you to develop the games.
Mm-hmm.
And there it is. Up next.
Yeah.
Up next, sexy teens in a van, and then a meteor hit. This is Paranormal Teens. It's a visual novel type thing. At least it's not like fake anime, and they're using some original art, which is okay. That guy looks like the human version of a My Little Pony character. You know what? Maybe he is.
I don't know, man. It looks like
the link to the carousel is in
a
the show
box of
notes.
Crayolas like shagged his head.
So yes, My Little Pony.
Okay.
But yeah, it's about sexy teens solving sexy mysteries, I guess. Though if you look at the video in the carousel, it is very clearly done through like your basic Frap streaming recorder. You can see like the little Windows bar at the top. I was curious how triggered Ben was upon seeing that.
All right. First of all, this is price to sell isn't free, and we need to keep that in mind. But I genuinely, even the video, just looking at the artwork, this is like, oh, this is so bad. But Pedro, I think we might have a hidden gem. This is so bad, it could possibly be good.
From the moment that the trailer actually features a Windows title bar across the top in many of the scenes, no, I think this is just bad. Bad.
Well, I mean, Manos is bad, and it was still a good episode of MST3K. So you might be able to extract something out of it, but you got to play with friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So something we like to play around among ourselves is speedrunners. So someone looked at that game and thought, you know what'd be a really good idea in the age of VR? I don't actually know if they have VR. No, they don't. Okay, that's good. In the age of VR, let's make a first-person speedrunners type game. And, if you've been playing games for a while, platforming in first person, it's never been a real good thing. Some game developers should have learned that when they released the first version of, what was it called? I can't remember, the parkour game that you played as a girl with like black hair.
That's racist.
No, there was one before that had like a really cool visual aesthetic, but it was basically just first-person platforming where you can't see your feet.
Yeah. And speaking of visual aesthetic, am I the only one who thinks that the whole neon aesthetic is wearing a bit thin on the ground for?
I don't know, man. I mean, it's like the hipster pixel. It's the hipster 3D. Let's do whatever that game was, where you freeze time and shoot pew, pew, pew and all that.
Super hot.
Yeah, super hot and all that.
yeah.
I think Foxy called it like Mirror's Edge on a budget. Definitely could be.
It does look like
Mirror's Edge.
Yeah,
That's the game I was thinking
it
of.
definitely kind of hits me as like a first-person speedrunners, but this is definitely coming soon, so we don't know what that's going to entail. But Jordan's favorite game that he's the master of all masters.
Oh, geez. Yeah, so golf with your friends, that one game that you could just see me fail at miserably, because for whatever reason I thought I should play it like actual golf as opposed to a video game. Don't do drugs, kids. But anyways, golf with your friends is out. It's not .971. They fixed a bunch of game breaking bugs. They fixed a bunch of issues with the which is the game itself to make it perform better and to not crash horribly. But can they make me good at it is the real question. Can they make me stop
No,
sucking
I like
at
that
it?
they actually, in the changelog, they have removed snow. You know nothing, John. Removed balloons for physics calculations. Yeah, you don't want to overload the Unity engine when it comes to physics calculations because that's not going to end well.
It was kind of fun. They've also added a bunch of new updates for an upcoming thing, and they're like, "Ooh, we're being salty. We're not telling you about it." But it's a thing. It's a decent enough game. We've definitely played it on the after shows, and so give it a check. It's currently on sale, so you might want to put it into your face organ. But hey, man, have you been waiting for a Mac game to come to Linux? Well, keep on fucking waiting, son, because this isn't going to be it. This is Heavy Gear Assault. The world of Heavy Gear Assault is... here's what this is. This is a first-person shooter where they've replaced your characters with mech models, and it moves about as fast as your standard first-person shooter. Fair. Missing the entire point. That is playing a mech game.
Yeah, I was one of those... I was definitely one of those people that had a Sega Saturn and spent most of his time playing MechWarrior 3. Like, a lot of hours that I lost in front of my teeny tiny TV in my room playing MechWarrior 3, and I want more of that. Big, lumbering, heavy thing that tanks a lot of hits and has to be very tactical with certain shots, with certain weapons, because you have very limited ammo. That's what I want. That's why I was actually looking forward to Hawken, and maybe it would come to Linux at one point, but it never did.
I don't know. FPSs with basic tank controls don't really appeal to me. I'm fine with having like your standard WASD and mouse thing. I think, like I said before we were talking about it, I think Titanfall actually has a really good mix where you can swap between the dude and the mech, and you can climb up on them, and maybe you can steal them, maybe you can't. Maybe I'm just confusing that with Just Cause.
You know what the big kicker is about Titanfall?
Which actually lets you like
what the actual hell? All right, early access 39.99 wet stinky caches. Ha ha.
Yeah, I actually had this game on my wish list, and I got an email on the 29th saying, "Oh yeah, that game is now available for purchase." And I'm like, "Oh, awesome, Mac game on Linux. It's early access." And it's pretty goddamn expensive. No. I
mean, the only thing I can definitely think of, I think the only excuse to have that type of price is if it was some, if there's Indiegogo or Kickstarter and you had that tier. That'll give you a pass for. I didn't do my research on this. This is not using Unity, though. It is using the Unreal Engine. Maybe we'll get some early access beta keys and we'll play around with it and report on it.
I mean, they don't have Loki around to port this version to Heavy Gear, so it's a good thing they picked a cross-platform engine.
Yeah.
But coming up next, we test how far or how close a PlayStation 4 is to a computer, and I don't know. Postal goes open source. That's weird, isn't it?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you're watching the video version, I suggest you cover your eyes because we're about to drop our clothes and whore ourselves out to you because you guys make this show possible. You keep us independent. You keep us on our toes whenever we say something that is not entirely true as well.
I mean, Pedro's a fat stinking liar because if I take my clothes off, then the people at Twitch get upset and the people at YouTube get upset. And I'm tired of all this fat shaming. God damn it. But you know what? You can totally fat shame us if you pay, and you can do that by heading on over to LinuxGameCast.com, clicking that support the shows in link. It's a magical winter wonderland full of magical Amazon affiliate links that let you support us without paying any money to us. We got some PayPal links. I'm
going to jump in real quick. I do want to say with the Amazon shooping through our Amazon links, I don't know if it's because we got the Amazon ad thing. Or if we had a bunch of people, I didn't go check because it's a nightmare fuel to log into that. We had a bunch of people buy, I'm guessing, stuff on Amazon through affiliate links, and we get a little cut of that. And it was like $30, man. That adds up.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is. And, it doesn't cost you a thing. You can help out more than your family and friends with your holiday shopping. You can help out the most important people in your life, us. You can also head on over to patreon.com/LinuxGameCast. We have a new thing for you. We're monkeying around with the Patreon only RSS feeds, and we're going to start recording the pre-come show that just us cocking around for about 30 minutes before we go live. You know how Ben always says in the intro segment, yeah, this is where we cock around. There's some serious cocking beforehand, and you can see that for $1 a week. We also got some 5-cent backer levels. We got a Chicago Kicks Ass $6.66 level if you really want to back the fine folks from Was it Boston Transit Authority or Chicago Transit Authority? I can never freaking remember. Doesn't matter. Classic rock fans, send your hate mail to Pedro at LinuxGameCast.com. I think we covered all the bases, so let's kick off the news section. Yeah, so we've been saying this for a while that PlayStation 4s are basically computers. It shouldn't be difficult to port stuff. Well, we may be a little wrong on that because the fine folks at Fail Overflow, the guys who actually got Linux working on the PlayStation 4, decided to put up a nice little slideshow and a little blog post documenting just exactly how incorrect we are. Because while there is an x86 CPU on the motherboard for the PlayStation 4, that's about all it has in common with the regular PC architecture. Yep. There's a bunch of like ARM CPUs that handle security stuff and intercept calls from the x86 to like the North Bridge and the South Bridge. It's kind of crazy. You'll get lost in it. They have all their slides. I read through them and I got lost by about the halfway point. It's all about writing exploits to take advantage of holes in their FreeBSD implementation and WebKit implementation, so you can get to the point where you can start loading a Linux kernel, at which point you don't have serial because the PlayStation 4 doesn't have serial, so it becomes a process of elimination to try and get things booted. You can check that entire thing out. The link to it is in our show notes. It's a very fascinating read. It also shows you why maybe we should stick to PC gaming because, no hardware fuckery.
It does the whole... the PS4 uses a Jaguar APU with 8 cores, but they're 8 AMD cores, kind of like my FX 8370E, kind of like Ven's 8150. Most games are not going to run very well with it. So you need to keep that in mind. And they did manage to get the Dolphin emulator running on it pretty decently, all things considered. They say that they're still working on it, adding the AMD GPU kernel driver shim thingy to load the proprietary drivers properly. Maybe get some Vulkan going. That'd be really freaking awesome.
I actually, what was kind of funny going through the slides is apparently not Sony, AMD, or a couple of the other manufacturers can agree on what to actually call the APU that is on the PlayStation 4. So there's a couple different names. They eventually settle on one for the slides, but I thought that was kind of funny. Just to show you how much fucked up shit is going on in this little console.
It's definitely something that's kind of interesting to look at and play around with. And, Pedro, I think you can take this away. What our good friends at Extra Credits have to say about...
do not tango with the kind of people who will install Linux on their PlayStations. You will lose.
Indeed. Coming up next, we do have our favorite psychopaths, and they're back.
Oh, yeah. Another group of people you don't want to tango with, they decided it was a good idea to re-implement an entire Elder Scrolls game in an open source engine. They first started out with Ogre 3D, but they're currently using OpenScene Graph, and the transition was almost smooth sailing all the way through, and they are mostly done, but there are still a couple of glaring omissions. Namely, Captain Distant Land and Lieutenant Shadows are still AWOL. But
they have a very important bug fix, Pedro. Argonian NPCs no longer swim like Kadgets, as God intended.
Wait a minute, I didn't know Lord Emperor of Mr. Cage played OpenMW.
He does now!
Hashtag
Indeed,
SpaceAss.
And they actually fixed a considerable number of bugs. They implemented some of the low-level stuff that you would need to get the true Morrowind experience. They've so far managed to skirt around the Bethesda lawyers by calling it OpenMW instead of OpenMorrowind. So good on them for that.
Hey man, they're just sitting back, relaxing, trying to figure out a way to still get suey with it,
They will probably find a way at some point.
And bring them some Doom.
Oh, yes. Doom. All right, so this is kind of neat. This is from Arlide's Live Journal. I was actually still surprised that Live Journal is up. I thought it had gone the way of GeoCities, but I was proven wrong. Regardless, you may have heard of RADV. It's the open source Radeon driver for Vulkan. And recently, now that they have Linux... Linux working with, or rather Doom working with Wine currently, because it took some time to get that all up and running with bcrypt DLLs and Denuvo and whatever. Vulkan works on the AMD GPU Pro proprietary graphics and the NVIDIA proprietary graphics, but they have actually got it to run using the RADV driver. There's still a lot of stuff missing. There's not proper coloration. There's still texturing issues. But considering the fact that RADV has really only been around for under a year, it's pretty impressive that they're able to get this amount of performance. Couple months.
It's only been a couple of months since RADV was actually pushed out into Mesa.
Still under a year. Technically correct, Pedro. The best kind of correct. But
use Kurt on that particular technicality. But no, this is David Early. He's basically Mr. Nouveau himself. And he's been working for Team Red on getting their open source drivers up and running with Vulkan. So, hey, good on him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's nothing to go Postal about because the
kinda.
fine folks at Running with Scissors, the original Postal, has been made open source. That's right. Let's just say 20 years ago for the rounding errors, or they like to say there. I mean, it's a thing. Art assets, unlike Lugaroo from last week, they didn't release those, but currently right now, at that time of recording, you can pick those up for, like a quid. So it's not a big deal. This is going to be released under the GPL version 2. I would have lost a bet on that. I was expecting MIT or something like that. And they kind of end the post by saying, port this to Dreamcast. I mean, it would be a shame if someone ported this to hey, wouldn't a Dreamcast port be great? Which basically leads me to bet, somebody at Rockstar, well, there's probably 3 or 4 people that have, the Dreamcast port death pool of things. Like, when's that going to become a thing?
It's amazing to see developers, just going, okay, the game's been out for a long, long time. Let's just release the sauce, let people, do with it as they will. It's a shame they didn't release the assets, but let's face it, it's Postal. It's a isometric top-down.
You can pick this game up for really cheap. It's actually on the page for this very article. There's a link to their Steam store page where it's on sale for $1.43. But very, very much echoing the sentiments of these guys. I really wish there are a couple other companies who I'd love if they'd follow suit and release the sauce for a bunch of their older game engines. Crow Team was awesome when they did that for Serious Sam. When LucasArts died, we got that for Jedi Knight and Jedi Knight 2, which was really, really cool. And I mean, it's just a good way to keep these games alive, because eventually the operating systems will eclipse the original requirements to the point where it just doesn't work. So having the source available means that people can continue to enjoy these games for the far, far future. But by the cricking of my thumbs, something French this way comes, because if you don't...
I do want to give a shout out, because I think Rohit from Shotdown has his own little repo that actually builds on a 64-bit system. There'll be a link to that in the show notes if you want to check that out. But if you don't like cocking about with makefiles, something way this lay comes.
Way comes. Lutris has some Postal stuff.
Indeed.
Strider, I think he actually ended up using Rohit stuff to get this up and running. Strider, you can correct me because I know you're listening. But they have the 2 options available. You can run it entirely DRM free, which means you're just using the CD contents, or you can use it with Steamworks and use the engine and still use the open source engine, still get all your achievements, still have Steam track your playtime, so you can brag to your friends that you spend hours and hours playing a 20-year-old shooter where you can pee on things. So
and Strider actually puts out a little bit of a request, as it were. If someone has the CD, if you could, maybe contribute back to Lutris and use it to make an installer to the no Steamworks version. If you could get it up and running, that'd be awesome. Send it back to Strider. He will make that available on Lutris, and that's really awesome.
He will thumb his nose indifferently at you, because that's what French people do. But it's time to get silent, man. Pedro, shut up.
Let's get silent.
Now start talking.
Just to spite Jordan, I'm going to keep talking.
No, fuck you! You're not my real dad!
This is the Silent Hill 3 Redux from Palm Studios, and it's basically an open source re-implementation of the Silent Hill 3 engine. And they are using SDL2, they're using OpenGL, they're using C++ for most of the development. So they're doing they're doing things right, as it were. And they're currently, since they're a Windows-based developer, they don't really know how to Linux, brah. So they're asking people, it's like, okay, so if anyone has the chops of OpenGL, SDL2, C++, give these guys a hand, because the Silent Hill series are one of my favorite horror game genres, game series ever. And the big question that kind of popped into my mind when I saw this in the news was like, okay, so that's Silent Hill 3, that's fine. That's one of the most competent on a technical level. It's one of the most competent Silent Hill games ever released. But the big obvious one, which admittedly uses a very similar, if not the exact same version of the engine, it was Silent Hill 2. Why not do that instead? But I'm guessing, since the engine is basically the same, you could probably play that one with this open source reimplementation once it's finished, because right now it's very, very early days. You can do some test stuff. You could probably actually load the game, but you can't play it.
Well, I mean, no, not everyone has the same sort of taste in games as you, Pedro. It's not like Strider, where your opinion applies to the entire world. But I mean, this guy's doing it right, because you see, kids, he's using OpenGL, he's using SDL, he's using GLEW. That means that when it comes time to port your project to other operating systems, it becomes a lot less painful, because you don't have to redo a bunch of crap. Regardless of the fact that this is mostly Visual Studio generated code. You can do it. And I mean, there's stuff like CMake and others that are arguably worse than CMake for writing cross-platform make files. I would say CMake is the least offensive option, I would say.
This is true. Something I want to address. Maddie in chat room just typed in Konami sending him a C&D letter. Legal to reverse engineer, son. So,
Yeah. Also, I think they're too busy making pachinko machines to notice.
Also, yes.
Yeah, they don't really care about video games anymore, let's be honest. But hey, have you ever felt like simulators along the lines of your SimCities, your Civilizations, your what have yous, weren't really cutting, the fulcrum of what a simulation is supposed to do? Well, there's a project for you. It's called Citybound, and it's very early days as well. But they are actively looking to implement a complex simulator of how a city actually works. Now, the moment I read this in their little site, which is actually cityboundsim.com, I'm like, oh, okay, so this is an even more involved version of SimCity. I'm not even going to touch it. I know Jordan actually got it running, sort of.
So what I recently learned is that Rust isn't entirely packaged in Fedora. They have the Rust language support enabled, but if you want to use their build system, or it's kind of like pip or RVM, basically allows you to abstract a bunch of platform stuff away and just run it in Rust. So you need to get that from GitHub. Once you get all that up and running and installed, that takes about 15 minutes to download the world. You can run the command in their README. And it runs. You can place roads. And I think once you start it actually launches a web page that contains the instructions. So I figured out how to move the camera around. I figured out how to draw some streets. And right now it's in a very basic thing. They have roads and traffic simulation working, but the game will crash if you try and spawn a car. So, yeah.
I definitely tried it. I picked it up and I played around with it. But it was like what Jordan was pointing out. I mean, it does spawn a web page, and I didn't even. Now that you said that, I was like, oh, okay, probably instructions. I couldn't figure out fuck and or all what to do with the nonsense. It looks neat. It originally wasn't planned to be open source, but then he's decided to open source it. He's put up a Patreon gang. Now I know you're going to be getting some links from our web zone, so I'll lead you back, and you'll probably watch the video, try to figure out what the fuck's going on. Bit of advice, young man, from Old Man Vin, trademark. Put some damn images up. Put some video up. Something, because it is a fuck mothering ghost town of visual, audio visual. Is like, what the hell is this? Outside of downloading it and playing it.
I mean, the game in itself is pretty much a ghost town, so there's not much in terms of visual stuff he can show just yet. So while I do agree with you, it might be a little hard at the current state. And it's better than just like, oh, here's some concept art of how we think the game works. It's like, we don't have anything to show you. If you want to see it, just install the game. I think that is an entirely valid approach rather than just lying to your player base. But yeah, speaking of lying to player bases, it has nothing to do with this next part. The CHAIRQUISITION from Mekazoo will pull out some kazoos and play a song for you. Poo poo. Well, if I could make a kazoo noise with a comb and a piece of wax paper, you would be treated to the delightful dulcet tones of that. But instead, because I can't, you just get to listen to a review of Mekazoo from the Good Mood creators, developed on the Unity engine. You can pick it up for around 20 of your local currency, depending on where you live and how much your government hates you. We also, and what is it? Mekazoo is a 2D platformer set in a vibrant 3D world with fast-flowing gameplay and a cast of genetically diverse mechanized animals. They're also delicious, but they won't tell you that here. So let's
and
kick
they
off
did send us keys. They did send us keys. This was, my prompt isn't there. Thanks a lot, producer. Sorry.
I guess I guess that one's on me. Shut up, Jordan. You suck. But CHAIRQUISITION. 1 chair means that it's trash. 2 chairs means that it's meh. 3 chairs means that it's pretty good. 4 chairs means that it's awesome. We also got our categories. Doom makes it working. Shiny sounds, controls, and fun. So let us kick this off. Ring in the new year with some awkward kazoo noises and a kangaroo that keeps falling into pits. Ben.
Yes, ma'am.
Mekazoo make with the working.
Well, over here on the box of business, running the Ubuntu 1604 LTS with an 8150 powered by 980 displayed at the UHDs. It ran good, but don't let that give you pause for 1 second to think that everything's all right over here in Vinland, because it's not. Out of the box, this game does not support UHD. You can't have your Persuado 4K. It's just not going to have it. I think it does 1440 at the most. And when you're trying to close the game, you basically have to tell this game 3 separate fucking times that you want to note. But then again, it's Unity, so Vulcan Nerve Pinch or Alt F4 takes it out. VSync, enabled, disabled, whatever, when you're in game. Okay, it's kind of weird. When you're actually playing game actual, it's just going to lock it at 60. You can't do shit about that. But during the loading screens, it'll go up to 300 and something like that. So I got to kind of give it, 3 chairs. I mean, it does more than just make with the working. It does better than that, but there is room for improvement.
Hey, what's this? A Unity game in 2016 that doesn't have the scream of nope when you start it up? Bonus soda! To further elaborate on Ben's point about having to quit 3 times, yes, you have to quit the level, you have to quit the level select, and then you can quit the game, which is really, really stupid. Which is why I do the same thing. It's like, quit, no, I'm back at the level select, yeah, Alt F4, fuck that. But beyond that, there's no UHD support. I don't usually play Unity games in UHD anymore just because that engine cannot handle the higher resolutions. And beyond that, on Fedora 24 with the i7 6700K and the GTX 980, it all worked relatively well. That's a word. It is now 4 chairs.
Yeah, over here on Ubuntu Mate with the FX8370E and the GeForce GTX 1080, it ran well enough. It, like Ben already mentioned, it's locked at 60 in gameplay proper, but it didn't really dip, at least not to any noticeable degree for me. So, and considering, like, again, Jordan mentioned, it doesn't have the Unity screen of nope, which is sad that I am currently in 2017 and I still have to, give it bonus points for not having that. It's really sad. But hey, it gets 4 chairs for Makes With It Working.
It doesn't get bonus points for not having a scream of nope. It just doesn't lose any. So yeah, that's 3 chairs for Makes With It Working. I'm next to Shiny and Sounds, Ben.
All right. Let's be honest. I never really expect much when a developer sends over keys. They send over keys. They were really polite. There was some snafu between, I think our original keys came from like PR people, not directly. And then we got back in touch with the developers and they hooked us up. Good on them. when I load something up and this is given to us, I don't expect much. But I genuinely surprised. I mean, this game is fucking gorgeous. The detail on the levels alone, you get all the cheers for that. I mean, it's been a lot of love went into this business. However, just like the backgrounds and the character animations and all that, there's so much shit going on, and it's done well, and it's reasonably performant. I mean, with a 980, it always holds 60. However, sometimes that awesomeness can cause you to lose track of your fuck-mothering character, which does happen in this game. The only thing, it's not really a ding, but it's something I notice when you shoot out of a cannon and it's loading a new area, be it your aardvark or whatever the hell it is, and your kangaroo or your frog. This loading screen, they all look like they've slammed like a DMT smoothie, man. I mean, they are spaced the fuck out. It's kind of amusing. The soundtrack, all I can say is it definitely has a very distinct, like, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 vibe to it. And that's a good thing. I don't get to do this often for a Unity joint, but 4 chairs.
Yeah, honestly, the soundtrack is one of the big things that stand out. It's really funky. I found myself jamming out with it a couple times while suffering through, well, we'll get to the gameplay in a little bit later. The art style is very well done. All the characters are uniquely designed. The enemies can get a bit repetitive at times because it's always the same couple of things. But beyond that, it's all very well done. Everything looks distinct. Everyone has their own unique little character. There's definitely some Unity-isms present that can't really be helped given that it's developed on a Unity engine game. And honestly, you can sort of hand wave it away with the art style. I really like the character designs. I like the backgrounds because they're very elaborate and well designed. The level design is also really, really cool with lots of hidden bits and stuff you really only see on the second time around, which is, again, really good. It shows that they've really taken a page out of the Rayman Sonic the Hedgehog style of level design and giving you multiple branching paths. It's pretty cool. I'll have to give that 3 cheers for shining the sounds. Color me impressed.
Yeah, I honestly can't give it 4 chairs because at one point it did let's try that again. It did genuinely cause me to get a wee bit motion sick. The camera flails around a little too much to give those panoramic shots of the action, but when you're stuck in a ditch, sort of, and actively trying to wall jump with a kangaroo quote-unquote skin, and the camera keeps flailing left and right, yeah, that's just more than a little bit barf-inducing. Other than that, it does look very, very good, and the aforementioned panoramic shots do add to the experience. The soundtrack, well, Ben and Jordan already drooled all over that, and it fits. I know that kind of sounds like a cop-out answer, but between saying that and saying that it's just really nothing to write home about, but at least didn't get muted. Potato, as the case may be. So 3 chairs.
When Pedro gets motion sickness from, watching games that move too fast and he produces vomit, he also produces split pea soup. The pea soup for Pedro. That terrible joke brought to you by the Patreons at LinuxGameCast.com. That is 3 chairs for shining sounds up next is Control. Ben.
That's something you want to sit back, relax, and play with a controller, as the game clearly tells you that Genesis to hit that A button. Well, that A button might as well be your left control bumper, or it could be the Y button or the right trigger stick, because this is old school Unity built-in controller pray and spray. The only options you have are to invert some of the controls. I think it has like 3 different control schemes. This is something I haven't seen since like 2014. Why did they do this? What's it? Because they didn't use SDL2. And are they aware of this issue? Absolutely. Have they made any plans to fix it? Absolutely. That's definitely a thing. They need to sort that shit. All right, the controls are hard locked, and most of your buttons, every single one of your buttons, on my Xclone controller have, there'll be 2 different keys that'll do the exact same bullshit, and it's kind of irritating. And trust me, the default layout for this, even with the mapped ones that they have available in game, which you can't, pick and choose the ones like a regular sane person want to do, they're all crackhead schemas. Not a huge fan of that. But outside of that, they do work, they do move, and you can technically play the game, but it's 2016, walking into 2017. I don't need you to tell me what buttons I can use. So for that, you're going to get 2.
Yeah, so I had this conversation both with Ben and Pedro separately, and it more or less resulted in the same thing, where I asked them, hey, the controls seem kind of fucked to you. And in both cases, the reaction is, oh my god, yes, I thought I was just stupid. So that should raise a couple red flags here. Like Ben said, the control scheme is a bit whacked. A and B need to do different things. So A, B do the same thing, or it's A, B, and the left bumper, or no, right bumper do the same thing. Y, X, and the right trigger do the same thing, and it's completely asinine. They need to avoid the spray and pray. And yeah, the movement is super floaty. All three of us cannot figure out how to make that stupid armadillo do what we want it to. And I think there's been quite a number of attempts between the three of us. So that too is not a good sign. They give you different modes of movement for all the various characters, and some are a lot better than others, and some are just really, really awful. Kangaroo! Blah! Excuse me. But yeah, I mean, the controls do work, but there's definitely issues with them. Hopefully, if they don't just abandon this like so many other Unity games, they can maybe fix that, maybe make some tighter controls, maybe give some prompts at the beginning of the game that say, explain how the character's movement works, instead of leaving us to figure it out and flail around like freaking idiots. So I gotta give it 2 chairs.
Yeah, no, I know it's kind of gauche on the internet nowadays, for internet assholes like us who like to, provide their opinions on certain video games. Some will go as far as to say they're video game critics. I'm not going to. I know better than that. But yeah, no, there's definitely a noticeable delay when you hit the action button, the A button, and the game doesn't really do anything. But then again, it doesn't really punish you too hard for it either. All the levels are really, really short. There's usually more than one way to get to certain places, but there's really absolutely no incentive to do that either, because all you're getting is one of those infuriating blue gems that you can only use to buy visual things. So I'm not going to be too harsh on the game for the floating controls yet, but not letting me rebind controls and only giving me an option to quote-unquote invert some mappings on the controller is what a developer does when they feel that they know better than the player how said player enjoys playing games. More on that later. I can't really give it 1 chair because you can, in theory, still play the game, so I can give it 2.
Yeah, that's 2 chairs for controls. Up next is fun. So, assuming I don't vomit up my dinner, then did you have fun?
Okay. I don't know if things are going to change later in this game if I continue playing and give it a bit more love. But I'll tell you this, the first 2 boss fights, your first frog, then Hippity Hoppidus, they're exactly the same thing. You use your armadillo, you roll around, and you hit him with bombs from the front. It's like, how original is this bullshit? And I do got to say this, because the first character you do learn is your spinny armadillo thingy. And if you're going to do a Sonic-like platformer, it damn well better handle like one. Mm. This doesn't. I've put like 70 minutes into this game, so take everything I say with a grain of chainsaw, because I made it to the kangaroo. You get the kangaroo, and I'm playing the first level with the kangaroo. Another Vin is back here quietly whispering into my ear pussy. He's like, all right, now they're just fucking with you. Seriously. I mean, I understand how Armadillo McRollyface worked, kind of, sort of, even though he randomly would do stuff. And I was like, why the fuck are you doing that? How do I repeat that action? Then you throw this fucking kangaroo character at me, and I'm like, fuck this game. Eat a bag of dicks. Which is kind of disappointing, because when I first launched this game, and I looked at it, and I went to the Steam store page, and I'm looking through it, and it's like, wow, you guys have spent tons of work. You've done a great job on this. How come this game's not blown up? and I played it, and that's where it kind of fell apart. I understand why this game never blew up. The control schemes on this game suck. They're miserable. They need to be fixed. I mean, tighten up the controls. That's all I can say, guys. I didn't hate the game. And I don't even like giving this score out because I can tell how much love and time and work went into this. This is not shovelware. This is the furthest thing from shovelware. But at the end of the day, if your product isn't really entertaining and play, I mean, there's a good game buried in here, as I like to say, but it is buried under your bullshit control scheme that needs to be fixed. I'll give you 2 chairs.
So a little behind the scenes for the review process of Mekazoo. We were actually supposed to do this last week with Empty. Empty had some technical issues, and therefore we had to skip it. So when that happened, I had mentioned before, I'd sliced up my thumb. So playing this game actually caused me physical pain and bleeding. I mean, I gave it another crack this week now that my finger has healed up and it doesn't hurt as much to use my thumb. And so it actually sort of worsened my opinion on it because beforehand I was thinking, well, you know what, maybe it's just the physical pain I'm in and the bleeding that is stopping this game from being fun. No. The controls are honestly the big thing that kills it, because this game does a lot of things right. They have a suite of interesting characters. By definition, the gameplay will vary from level segment to level segment because you have to use different animal friends to solve different puzzles. I like that. I like the branching pathways. I like how even in some levels you can just choose your favorite way to go about a specific challenge and do it. And sometimes you'll get additional stuff for it. Sometimes you won't. It doesn't really matter. But like the Rayman Sonic mashup could actually work if the controls just did what made the characters do what I wanted them to do. Platformers live and die on them, as we've discussed many times before on the CHAIRQUISITION. And if you don't have solid controls that have clear action reactions, you're not going to have a good time. I can only really give this 2 because there's like Ben said, there's good elements to it. They just need to fix this one freaking problem, and then it could be a 3-chair game.
Yeah, no, you can totally see, the heritage behind this game. It's like Sonic and Mega Man had a baby and they left it in the care of Aunt Metroid. And, well, if that description doesn't tell you anything, that's because you haven't been watching the CHAIRQUISITION long enough. Because everyone else knows exactly how I feel about platformers in this day and age. The only thing that really saves Mekazoo from a completely thorough beating with the mediocrity stick is that it doesn't, feature a hipster pixel aesthetic, as it were. I will even excuse the fact that all of the different skins, except the kangaroo, can't really jump. The second one you get is a frog. Frogs, what do they do? How do they move around? They jump, unless they're in water, at which point they swim. But yeah, if they're on land, they jump. Outside of that teeny tiny little hop that particular skin does in Mekazoo, it doesn't let you actually jump. But again, I will probably let that slide too. Like Jordan already said, like many games before it, Mekazoo actually sacrifices tight controls and everything else for the sake of looking pretty. And while it does look and sound above the average piece of Unity dross, which currently clogs up the Steam store, the controls, that one piece of essential video game componentry, are floaty as fuck. And I know, gosh, but bear with me on this one. I don't really think I need to explain why controls are one of the most essential bits of a video game, and having bad controls or unresponsive controls, as is the case, is a surefire way to get people like me to stop playing your game pretty goddamn fast. If the one mean of a fleshy human being interacting with the digital world you have created is fucked, most people won't be able to enjoy said world. And not even anywhere close to the way you'd like them to. And that brings me back to the whole, if you're imposing a certain control scheme upon your players, that's just adding insult to injury. So no, I really did not have any fun with Mekazoo. One chair.
All right, well, that's one share for this fun segment. We tally all this nonsense up. We might be able to squeeze this review in before the New Year's. That is 2 whole chairs for Mekazoo. Quickly, final thoughts. Can we squeeze it in? Can we squeeze it out?
It's a game. It happens. Currently, you were looking at, come on, it's on sale, $9.99.
No.
If and when they fix the controls and they get that sorted, good on them. Make it happen. Then I can recommend it. In its current state, stay the fuck away.
Yeah, no. Mekazoo is just one of those games I really hate. Not because it's bad, but actually because it's not bad enough. I can respect a game being so bad it's actually impressive you can manage to play it at all. But Mekazoo, on the other hand, is a thoroughly mediocre game. It doesn't suck, but it's not good either, and that makes me sick. Motion sick, that is.
Very, 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 very witty. Like these guys said, this could be a really good game if they would fix the controls, and maybe they will, because you can patch games. So devs, please take that to heart. And if you're into that stuff, or maybe you want to try it for yourself, the game's on sale for $9 now, so pick it up. Maybe that's what the not sure if want thing is for. So closing out 2016 with not so much of a bang but a whimper. That is the last CHAIRQUISITION. Coming up next, we got some hate mail where, oh my god, someone actually sent us keys for once.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we started this particular episode of LinuxGameCast Weekly in 2016 in the US, as the case may be, and we're wrapping up in 2017. Time. How does that work?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but if you'd like to tell us, I mean, it's probably not as hard as magnets, so you can go on over to linuxgamecast.com, you hit the contact button on the nav bar, you fill out the teeny tiny form, make sure to pick LGC Weekly to send some hate mail over our way, or if you watch the Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays with the Frenchman, the rich pate, as someone described Strider, you can pick LWDW and we'll be happy to read your feedback for that. This week, we have a bit of a plug from Christopher, because he actually read that thing that we say that if you want to promote your game...
Well, that's cute, considering you're out of order, Pedro.
Oh, right. No, that's the second one. Never mind.
Fuck it up, 2017, bitches.
All right, that's how we do it. This is from MC Frolicker. I was about to say Metro Liquor, but that's not right. He says, I am new to Linux and have never played a video game like Doom ever, not even in Windows. That's going to be kind of difficult. I have Wine installed in my Debian-based distro, and I am guessing I need to purchase the game by downloading the PC version. I guess that costs around $15. Yeah, right. I could purchase the used CD version at a resale shop. Maybe, right? Then I simply open the game in Wine, right? Well, you may be a little misinformed there, Brad, but I will say that, again, the rich pate of Linux content out there, and he certainly is rich, and he certainly is squeezed goose liver, Mr. Mathieu Cordon Bleu. Strider does have a very easy way that you can, if you're gonna, spend money on that Heretic purchase, it's gonna be a lot more than $15, Brad. But yeah, he will get it working in Wine for you. There's a one-click install. It's great. It might even work sort of with your open source Radeon drivers. Not really. Give it a couple more months / years / decade. But yes, it is a lot easier than it seems from the outside, especially if you're using a tool like Lutris. If you want to set it up on your own, though, you have some DLL patching you need to do. It's not going to be fun. It's trickier than you'd expect. Also, you'd be a goddamn heretic, so, think of that what you want.
Yeah, it's definitely like one of the things. I mean, if you haven't played it under Windows, stick with that regiment and don't play it under Linux. I mean, unless you just can't help yourself, because you're only allowed, once you've switched to Linux, 5 heretic purchases.
So the chairs of the clip.
So say it the chairs. Ramen. No, hey, I'm not going to knock anyone, because I've blown too with my Trackmania and the Skyrim job. That's definitely a thing. But Pedro's running out and buying it right now.
No, I'm not, because I've already blown through 4 of my Heretic purchases. And I'm saving that last one for something real special, and I'm actively not giving Bethesda any more money until they stop being so actively hostile towards Linux.
Well, I mean, come on, it's Bethesda and ZeniMax. They're great. They've actually released a version of Doom that doesn't run under Linux natively. It's
Outside of Quake Live, it's like the moment they got their mitts on it, it's like, nope, we're canning the Linux version and it's Windows only now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck you.
Okay.
Especially because it's a browser plugin.
Now,
Speaking
we do have
of
a
plugs,
bit of a plug.
Yes,
Christopher.
Someone who read the little teeny tiny text that Ven has put in a big bold font. Dear LinuxGameCast team, I'm Christopher, assistant producer on Ellipsus, an action-packed avoid 'em up, which is coming to Linux on January 25th. In Ellipsus, you guide a ship through a minimalistic neon-style universe, while deftly avoiding hordes of enemies similar to Geometry Wars' pacifism mode. Website, trailer, press kit, and screenshots were... Over the past 2 months, we've been working together with 30-plus Linux testers, using a variety of setups to ensure Ellipsus will be running smoothly across as many distros as possible from day one. That's actually kind of awesome. It's personally important for us to support Linux, and the community, in turn, has been simply amazing in their support and feedback. Your long-running Linux gaming focused? Really?
Yeah.
Podcast is just one example of how dedicated, really, the Linux community is. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. We're a small indie studio. Hey, pulling the small indie studio card of there. Former EA, Sony, Havoc, gone Hindi. We appreciate your support, Christopher. Which one of you guys do I have to blame for the really crappy physics on Shroud of the Avatar, which I've been playing a lot of this week? Because that's bad.
Don't listen to this moron. He is only talking about he's one shit on people. What they did do correctly is go through the hate mail section. They filled that out, and we have keys for this game to give away. We'll probably do that next week. We'll probably do it on the Wednesday show to get some more people playing in that. I know Foxy said with the game in the comments in the show notes, you can do that as a Patreon. It's kind of neat. But he says it's actually not that bad of a game. He likes these kind of games. It's like Flower for the PS3. Beautiful, simplistic, kind of addicting. Very nice work for such a small game. I gotta be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. First of all, here's your plug right here. Playellipsis.com. There's the thing. It's won 3 awards in 2016. That's so old hat, but they definitely did here.
Two of which are from Intel Level Up. Yeah, but you know, I have the game installed. I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet. Foxy has pretty good taste because he's one of our better Patreons, and therefore he has a better opinion than most. And therefore, you should maybe check that out. Like Ven said, playellipsis.com. Link to that is in the show.
Also, want to throw this bit of a pro tip out, and if you're looking for like 30 people that, you know, your first question's not going to be how do I Linux, bro?
Yeah.
Because I know you'll go to your forums, you know, on Steam or something like that and be like, hey, we're thinking about doing a Linux beta. You're going to get bombarded by Windows users like, I run 6 Linuxes. So
I have Arch installed.
For the sole purpose of them getting free fucking keys, and you're damn well fucking lucky if you run into like 3 out of that first run that actually play it on Linux or even have Linux installed in the first place. But... unless you, well, I guess you could create you could create a beta branch with your development options and only make that repo available with that key but most people don't go through that trouble. Anyway, thanks for sending that noise in. So this week we're going to cue the music like that. Slightly different.
Like so
background.
many dropping peaches.
Hey man, I'm going to the country, son. But always check us out. You can do that if you want to get a live notifications, youtube.com/LinuxGameCast. Click the ringy bell of death, and it will let you know every time that we go live. Same thing at twitch.tv/LinuxGameCast. We're on that business when we stream the games during the week. If you want to stream with me, I'm at Vinstone. On the Twitter, that's plus Vinstone. On the G pluses.
I'm Jordan Svung. I come from a can, and I was put there by a man in a factory downtown. You can find out more about that at Burning Fool on the Twitter, or plus Jordan Svung on the Google Plus. Because if I had my own way, I'd eat Pedro every day.
And I am Pedro. That's how you say it. Pedro Mateos. It's really not that hard, but these two heathens just can't be asked. You can find
Shut
me
up,
at
Pablo.
Unaccounted For. At Unaccounted For on Twitter or plus Pedro Mateos on Google+.
All right, beautiful party people. This has been an awesome year. We've done good. We've made some progress on the Patreons. You guys have kept us alive.
Oh, yeah.
Let's fucking kick that $200 goal in its fucking teeth this year so we can really unleash this shit and get more in your face.
Yes.
Also, you get to make me play Serious Sam 3, and I fucking hate that game, so you get to watch me suffer.
My penis can only get so erect.
Oh.
Not with that attitude.
We'll see you next week.
Bye, kids.
It's horrifying.
You know, setting the bar really low for 2017 on that one.
I mean, that's how you do it. You set it really, really low, and then anything above that is improvement.